everyone, I'm Heide Lang and welcome to another segment of Find Your Inner Gourmet. We are so excited today because we're going to be talking about olive oil and canola oil and all of the other oils, or many of the other oils that you would often use to cook and to make salad dressings and things. There's a lot of myth about oils, and of course mostly about extra virgin olive oil and other kinds of olive oils you can use. Many people think that if you are going to cook, like on the cooking shows, everyone uses olive oil, and that's just the ultimate oil to use when you're cooking. Well, guess what? I'm going to let you know a little chef secret. It's not true. In chef kitchens, in commercial kitchens, olive oil is actually only used for finishing. In other words, if there's something that's going to be drizzled on at the end right before it's served, or for salad dressings, but it's actually not used in the cooking process. Why? Because olive oil has a very low smoke point. In other words, it begins to give off toxic fumes. Actually, it can turn into some trans fats when it's at a too high temperature. So we don't actually use olive oil when we're searing things or cooking things at high temperature. Olive oil has a smoke point of 375 degrees. That sounds like it's high, but actually when you have a flame on in a saute pan, it's not so high at all. So what do we use instead? We actually use canola oil or grapeseed oil or various other kinds of oils. Now they have their advantages and disadvantages. I'm really going to talk primarily today about canola oil because it's what we use most often. Why? For one thing, it's tasteless and it's odorless. Why is that good? Well, because some other oils like coconut oil or even avocado oil have some sort of a taste. And so we don't always want that to interfere with the thing that we're cooking. So we prefer to keep that out of the equation. What kind of olive oil to use? Okay, here's the thing about olive oil. It isn't also such an easy thing necessarily to understand. The best kinds of olive oils are the ones that are not genetically modified. So we tend to buy ones that are organic. It's still cheaper than spending $30 on a bottle of good olive oil. Of course, you can spend much less, and we're going to get to that. But before I do that, I'm going to talk about the kinds of canola oil you want to use. You want to use one that's not genetically modified. So if you know it's organic, it will say so on the bottle, or you can buy a store brand like Whole Foods sells that it tells you on the label that it is not genetically modified. The other thing to keep in mind is that you want one that is expeller pressed. What does that mean? That's a big word. It means that it was mechanically pressed, that the seeds were pressed out instead of using a chemical solvent. Believe it or not, some oils are produced that way by using a chemical solvent to extract the oil. We don't want that in our food, of course. So you want one that, again, where the seeds were pressed for the olive oil to come out. And guess what that does? That makes the smoke point even higher. So most canola oils average around 400 degrees before they start burning, but some of them go up to 450 degrees. The only way to know is by you to try them and to find out which ones have a higher smoke point depending on the brand that you're buying. Okay, so let's just get back now that I've talked about what we often use in our kitchens. And when I went to cooking school, was shocked to find out that olive oil did not rule. But olive oil is extremely important for not only in the kitchen for making dressings and for finishing and for raw products. Do you need to spend $30 on a bottle? Well, it just so happened that somebody gave this to me as a gift, and I'm so afraid to use it. I think it's about $35 a bottle. This is a special occasion kind of olive oil. On an everyday basis, you'd never want to saute your chicken cutlets for a Friday night dinner with this kind of olive oil. Instead, you want to buy one that suits your taste. Most of the olive oil comes from the Mediterranean region, and now more and more from California, and there's so many excellent ones out there. I couldn't even begin to tell you all the ones you like. We use various ones depending on the time of year, and one of our favorite, believe it or not, was from a big box store, Costco. Their brand, anyone who shops at big box stores knows, Kirkland. It comes from Tuscany, and it doesn't have that funny rancid aftertaste, and it's versatile, and it costs about $12 or $13 a bottle. So when we can get it, and it's not always, I stock up and buy 30 or 40 bottles at a time because I use it in cooking classes all the time. I tell everyone about this because it's not fancy and it goes a long way. It's a whole quart. It's a little bit actually more than a quart. If I can't get that, I also sometimes, if I'm making Mediterranean food, if we're teaching a spice market class, I want something that has more of an olivey taste. So I'll actually go with the Spanish olive oil, and this one's from Trader Joe's, $8. You can't go wrong. We also do buy sometimes Italian olive oil, store brand olive oil from Whole Foods, also known that it's organic and cold pressed. Cold pressed is similar to expeller pressed, that big word I used before, except that it's at a lower temperature. Problem is the regulations aren't great on that, so you never really know for sure if that's what you're getting. You'll only know by the taste if you like the taste. So when we buy these olive oils, we taste them and decide how we want to use them in a salad dressing, over a caprese salad, who knows? There's lots of ways of using them. The other thing to keep in mind is that there's some other oils out there that are wonderful. Lots of people are now using coconut oil because it's very healthy. But for me, it doesn't have the right taste for cooking. I prefer not to use it. Another oil that is often used in Middle Eastern cooking is grapeseed oil, and other kinds of cooking too. Also has very little aftertaste, very inexpensive. This bottle was less than $10. It's also a great choice because its smoke point is also 400 degrees. Now, when you have a special occasion, it's great once in a while, and this is so by no means necessary, to treat yourself to something special. An oil that's been infused with something, another word that sometimes turns people off. All that means is that something was put into it and then it was filtered and taken out. So there's garlic oils, and once again, this one was bought at a big box store. I think I've bought a dozen at a time because it can get expensive. A great place to buy these kinds of special oils is the discount stores like Marshall's, TJ Maxx, anything like that. They often buy the excess from places, and you can get great deals sometimes on this. If you like one, go back and stock up because it may not be there next time. So we sometimes buy these kinds of fancy things for $2 or $3. It's worth doing. And then there are little things like basil olive oil that you would just drizzle on some nice vegetables in the summer, nice grilled vegetables. Don't use this to make even dressing, because this little bottle would be the end of it. So we use this for only special occasions. In our next segment, we're going to talk about another one of my favorite topics, and something that's also a bit of a mystery, which is vinegar. And we're going to show you how to make a real dressing, a very easy dressing that is trouble-free. And once you know how to do that, you'll never buy salad dressing in a bottle again, I promise you. So this is Heide Lang. Thank you for joining us for another segment of Find Your Inner Gourmet. I'll see you next time.